I wanted to talk to you about the marketability of your idea. So writers, we all have a peppering of all sorts of ideas, bombarding our psyche and our soul often, and most of the time every day, at least for me and many of my friends. So how do you choose an idea? Well, I think it's important to take your top 3 ideas and be really honest with yourself. Is it marketable? Right? Because there are ideas out there that are, something that's interesting to me may not be interesting to the world. So I wrote a script about a fugu chef one time, the Japanese puffer blowfish, which is the poisonous fish. And I love this story, and it got some traction, but nobody ever bought it. And the writing experience was of value for sure, but I could have spent those 8 weeks to 12 weeks to eventually 6 months working on something that was much more marketable. So what makes a marketable screenplay that's going to put you in the best possible position to sell it? So these days, it is a true story. For some reason, Hollywood and actors, movie stars, like to play something that actually happened. So how do you acquire that? Well, you acquire it from source material. What is source material? It's from a magazine, a book, an article, something you've seen in the news. Now you may be saying, yeah, Paul, that's great, but I'm a new screenwriter. How am I going to acquire that? Well, from my experience, I have seen that book authors are a lot more accessible and open than, say, trying to get to a movie star. So if you approached a book author, notice I said he or she, not the agent, because agents are wonderful, but they're the gatekeepers. They're trying to protect that person, and they're trying to get them paid, understandably so. But if you approach a book author and show your passion for the material, have a plan for how you're going to adapt it from book to the big screen, and oh, by the way, you're going to do this for free, as long as that he or she gives you a free option, and if the material, once you're done with it, is at a level of vibrancy and at a high frequency of quality, that person says, yes, this is my book on screen, in a screenplay form, that can eventually make it to the big screen, yeah, I would love to see it. You did a great job. If they agree to that, then you go forward as a team to sell the entire project, and it costs you time and sweat equity. That can be done. And most writers are a bit trepidatious and shy and circumspect in going that route because they feel like, well, what value do I have to add? Well, I'm here to tell you, you have a lot. You're a creative. All right? That's invaluable. And if you're going to be brave enough to approach this person and coming from a good place, you're not trying to rip anyone off, you're trying to add value with your talent and creativity, you can acquire some wonderful stories. All right? So the market is very friendly towards a true story, something that's current. Is it like these days you hear a lot of stories about autism, which is a very important subject. All right. If there's something that is relevant to the science world as far as a curable disease, something that has an energy beyond just a true story. All right. An Olympic hopeful who blah, 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 fill in the blank. Maybe there's something in your hometown, somebody that nobody even knew about this person, and you could bring that story to fruition through a screenplay. Where there's a will, there's a relative, and there's also a way. So I would encourage you to start looking for true stories, something from source material. If there's a book that you saw when you read when you were a little kid, and why hasn't this ever been a movie? Then that's a voice, a little God wink that's telling you to pursue it. So your job now is to spend the next, not 1 hour, 2 hours, going to Google, going to your Rolodex, going to your hometown, going through all your resources to identify a true story that you can bring to fruition through the craft of screenwriting. So you have 2 hours. Make sure you hit the restroom, get some water, get some almonds, whatever you do, and get prepared, because 2 hours and you're going to unveil the gem that you were meant to write through a true story from source material. Okay? In 3, 2, 1, write it.